Or maybe move the whole thing back. So
I got it. It's good right now.
okay, you ready? Gonna do the intro?
Yes.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
This
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. This is Robert Henderson Jr., President, Founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. And we're so happy to be here with you today. Joining me is my fabulous one and only daughter, Hyacinth Renee Henderson. And she will introduce herself and tell you more about her. Well, I just introduced you, but you're going to tell you more about it.
Why you keep saying my middle name?
Because I love it because I named you your middle name. Okay.
So,
I like the R in it.
Okay, I'll let you have that.
If I would have had my way, your mother, I'd have been Hyacinth Robert Henderson.
Wow. Good thing I have a mama.
Yeah. It's been Hyacinth Robert Henderson.
Stepped in and said, no, make it Renee.
Then I said, okay, Renee. I settled for Renee.
Okay.
I was a forward thinker. I said, no, we calling you that 30, 40 years.
Robert, little Rob.
Yeah.
Rob. Okay. All right. So thank you all so much for being
Yes.
here. I am Hyacinth Henderson. I am the co-CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. We are a full-service financial planning and investment advisory firm based in sunny South Florida. We do have clients all over the world. I am a licensed stockbroker, a registered investment advisor representative, an annuity and insurance broker, and a mortgage loan originator. And at the Henderson Financial Group...
It's getting longer and longer.
I know. I was thinking about today. Should I get another license before the year ends or wait until next year?
Goodness gracious.
I was thinking about that, but I got to look at my calendar and things like that. But that's a good thing.
That's a very, very good thing. I'm very proud. I'm very happy because that means the future is bright and secure.
It's bright.
As long as you keep your mind right and get a little travel in, you'll sneak a little New York Broadway play in. Yeah. Or somewhere you'll go for 3 or 4 days and refresh and come back. So I'm with that. I'm cool with that. That's a good balance,
Thank you. I was thinking about doing New York, but then I thought about I wanted to go somewhere where I can see the leaves change.
Okay. Well,
the colors change.
You can go up to the house in the Poconos. You can go do that. You've been there a long time. Matter of fact, I'm updating. I just updated the kitchen, but I got to do the deck and everything else in the Poconos Mountains. All right. But anyway, so today we're going to talk about, because we got a really short 30-minute session here. And then we're going to talk about the power of change. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the condition of the economy and the thoughts of people and the cultures and wars and all that, you think like, oh my God, the world is going to hell, but it really isn't. It's just correcting itself. But when you look back, oh man, I mean, especially people that are of color, man, 60 years ago, man, it was a lot of, it was bad. It was 60, 70 years ago. It was really bad, but if you think now is bad. So some people say, that it's real, real bad, but I like to say this too shall pass. And whether you get into the politics or the cultural wars, I mean, you got to have a goal. You got to stick to it because this is a thing called life, and you have to be positive with positive mental attitude. This too shall pass. You got to have a goal. You got to stick through it, and you'll be okay. Don't get all clamped down into it, especially if you can't do anything about it. That's the worst thing you could do is have your mind and thought taken away, because it'll leave you in a fetal position and you'll be helpless. And you can't really think or get good thoughts or make good moves if you are into the rat race, okay? Into the consciousness of other people, of what they're trying to what they're trying to induce you to. So you stay clear of that. It's not that you don't care, you are aware, but you have to be focused. Because change is good. It really is good. It may not appear to be good. And oftentimes when change takes place, you feel like it's a bad thing. But I always say when change takes place, it really is an opportunity for growth, for you to dig deep down inside and say, okay, in terms of survival, what's the next plan? What should we do? Because you always got to change. In order to grow, you got to change and you got to adapt. And it looks like, oh my God, this is bad. But really, when you look 10 years later on down the road, it was good. Okay. And sometimes, a lot of times it don't feel good. It comes with pain, but if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. You agree?
Oh, yes, I definitely agree with you. I was thinking about the fact that everything is always changing. Change is constant. And so as you were speaking, I was imagining the fact that a lot of times we get so focused on what's in front of us that's changing, excuse me, the circumstance in front of us that's changing, and we laser in on the change of the moment, not realizing it's consistently and constantly changing.
Right.
What do I mean by that? When I say you laser in at the change of the moment, a lot of times you hone down and you harp on something that was a change, but that change happened last week,
Yes.
or that change happened last month or last year. And since that initial change that got your attention, you've been laser focused on that change, but it has changed several times from there.
Yes.
From that point. So I like to see change as a ball that keeps on rolling, right? It's like, oh, it rolled this way, and now I see this side of the ball. Instead of you recognizing that the ball is consistently rolling down the street, it's rolling, you're just like, oh, when it rolls over here, it had dirt right here. And so now I'm going to either wallow in the misery or the pain of this experience of change, and I'm going to laser focus on that, and I am going to just act like this experience, like, what do you say, when you're up right now, is going to be here forever. It reminds me, yesterday we were talking about back in the days how we had sky caps. Now when I go to the airport, I don't even look for nobody outside.
Right.
And before that happened, they got to the point that they couldn't take tips.
That's true.
So back in the day, when the sky caps, you were saying they used to make $300, $500 a day
Cash, right?
I mean, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When that amount was a lot of money. I mean, $20 a day still is a lot of money, right?
For some people.
Right. But they were making that, and they thought that that was going to be forever.
They did.
They were only focused on that because before sky caps came into existence and they were making $200 to $300 to $500 a day, there weren't any sky caps.
Right.
So the change was, okay, now that we have sky caps and you're able to make this, they just focused on that because we're thinking about someone who was a sky cap. And I said, I remember a little girl, they had so much money. What happened to them? And now they don't have money.
That's right.
Because they only focused on that change right there.
They stagnant.
And didn't realize that change was consistently happening.
Constantly happening. It has to.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, what often amazes me is someone who is doing something illegal, achieving ill-got gains, money, and they're having a good time and they're partying like it's never going to end. And if only thing you have to do is just look at time and know that table, that page will turn. And, it's like being young and now you're old. So when you're doing something that's illegal, scams, which is really in fashion now, young people say they want to just grow up, not go to college, but they want to be a scam artist. That's not a good business model for longevity. That will change because every day they are coming up with new systems to combat that, and you don't want to be in something that they're trying to eliminate. Because everything is changing and is growing and trying to be more efficient without humans. So therefore, you have to constantly change, and change is good, and you just stay ahead of it. It's like, like the wind is back there and you're running from it, but you have to continue to do that. You start to die or get caught or be stagnant when you don't constantly change. I can think about some of the stuff I used to eat, 20, 30 years ago. I don't eat no more. You know what I mean? And, and I used to love it, but then I don't love it no more. And I changed. And at the time I was eating, I think this is the great thing. I'm never going to stop, but it changes and it's a good thing. So when you reflect back, like last week we talked about reflection, how good it is and how you can say, okay, it's okay when you change. And as I was saying, someone who is doing something illegal, I don't care what you're doing right now. If you're doing something illegal, your time is coming. Your number is coming up. It really is. Even going to college, you have to look at not where things are right now, but where things are going to be. I remember being a doctor 30 years ago. If you became a doctor, oh my God, you just was going to be wealthy, have a good life. That's not so nowadays.
I know.
You can doctor, you make $150,000 or $200,000 a year. You're not rich.
Yeah, and plus they're loaded with student loan debt.
Oh my God, they got a lot of debt. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to constantly change. And if you don't change, change is going to change without you. And that's when you become you become a day late, $1 short. So when you get a grip of this and you understand this, then you know that there's always something for you to do because the universe, time is moving and changing. And just think about it. Your favorite restaurant, whether it's Burger King or some fancy, 5-star restaurant, they constantly change their menu. They always do. They don't stay stagnant. They did something. They had a menu for 2 years, 3 years. They change it. Think about it. Everything changed. And so you have to change. And it's really good because it really signifies growth. So I'm okay with it.
When you think about change, when I think about change, I think about choices. So for those of you who are out there listening, I want you to imagine that anytime you experience a change, you know that a change is coming up, you think about the word change, think I'm going to have new choices. And we love choices because the power of your choices is what determines what path you take. You can choose to go this way or choose to go that way. As you said, Mr. Henderson, the restaurants or fast food places, they're always changing the menu. One of your favorite places to talk about is Taco Bell.
Yes.
You say they always change and reinvented the taco. And guess what we do when we roll up there? Well, I don't eat Taco Bell, but when y'all roll up there, you got to make a new choice.
Yes.
So I want you to apply that to your regular life, your daily life, and say, wow, when things are changing, I don't want to just focus on the change that happened and abandon ship. I want to see how I can make a new choice that is going to get me to where I'm going. It reminds me of, you talked about running in the wind to your back. So last night I was running and when I run heading west, the wind is behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always very, it's a different run.
Right.
But then when I make that left and then I start heading south and then I make another left and I start heading east,
right,
I'm running against the wind.
Got it.
And I'm running against the wind. And so last night it's like 7:50. I had to leave my house by 8:00 to go meet my son at the tailor to get his pants tailored. So the choices that are coming to mind are, you can either push through this run because you got to run back home.
Yeah.
You got to make it back home a mile and some change in 10 minutes so that you can leave and meet to the tailor. The wind is pushing against you. Do you call your daughter? And this was the things like, okay, you could just pull over and just call, like sit down and call Kai and say, come pick me up, right? So I had a choice to call her. I had a choice to run faster. I had a choice to walk. I had a choice to reschedule the tailoring. I had all these choices that I was faced with because I changed directions and my run was then different. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. What do you think I did?
Yeah. What'd you do?
What do you think I did?
I don't know. You pushed through it, or you just called it? You ran.
You have to choose one answer.
Okay. I was thinking about something else.
I can see you was not in tune and not present.
Okay. So what did you do? Tell me.
The question is, what do you think I did?
I think you ran with the wind.
I ran against the wind and I put some pedal to the metal and stepped up so I could get home and make it to the tailor so I could be there by 8:30. But the point is, I use that as an example because in our everyday life, we are faced with changes and choices. So when you think about change, I really want you to think about choices and feel empowered and say, now that this circumstance has changed, now that what I knew has changed, now that the environment has changed, I get to feel empowered because I get to make a new choice.
Yes.
That's different than being in the victim space of, oh my gosh, I can't believe this change happened. Why did they change this? What happened? How am I going to get, more money? How am I going to do this? Like you're thinking in a victim mindset instead of saying, oh, wait, this empowers me to make new choices.
Yes. I cannot, as you was talking, I was thinking about, I can't remember the last time that we did not at the Henderson Financial Group from year to year make a change.
Oh my gosh.
Every year we're making some sort of change. We're doing things a different way. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
Every year we're doing things a different way. So, some people wonder, how could we constantly do the same thing? We're never doing the exact same thing. We're always changing, revamping, coming up with new ideas, new approaches, new software, looking at things totally different that we didn't see. Oftentimes when we say, oh my God, this is so good, we should have done this 10 years ago. But in terms of consciousness, we wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. And we hadn't presented itself. A lot of things hadn't been invented. And then some things have been here that we just didn't know about. So that's why you never, think that you know it all. The person that really knows something knows that they don't know nothing at all. And let me clarify what that really means. When I say the person that really knows something knows that they don't know nothing at all, it seems like a oxymoron. But no, because the more we know and the more we learn, we feel that, oh my God, it's so much more. It's like finding out that you are a pebble on the beach and you look around, hey, I'm a pebble, I'm pebble. And you look around, so many pebbles on the beach for miles and miles. And you're like, oh my God, there's so much ground to cover. So that's when the smart person who knows nothing, who says he knows nothing, that's because he knows how vast the universe is and how vast information is, how wide it is, how much it is. So we're so excited about learning and growing and expanding. We're like, oh my God, this is great, you know? And some people feel like, okay, there's no more for me, no more lessons, no more brains for me. And it's just, I know everything. You should run from that person. That's not truth. Truth, when you can really see, then you can see just how many galaxies there are. There's more galaxies than what science say right now. That's all they can see, and that's all they know. But that don't make it so. And we take that same approach when in terms of financial planning, designing, strategy. We know that there is more. We know that there is good, better, and there's best. And we're just constantly striving. You yourself got to take that approach too. When you take that approach, you feel more fulfilled. You're not afraid. You feel like, okay, I'm going to get better. There's no sense in being pessimist or depressed because really, really, you know that there is more than meets the eye. But I mean that there is more to come than meets the eye. Just because you can't see it, that don't mean that it's not more. There is always more. That's just how the creator designed the whole universe. And it's up to us to believe that and say, okay, I'm going to strive for it. You can tell the people who believe it and know that there's more because they're constantly practicing, constantly getting better and excited about the future. I'm so excited about the future. A lot of people feel like, oh my God, politically, if certain people get in the office, they leave in the country. Where else you going? I mean, if you with the big bad United States who will take you out, they got more guns and everything. Where else can you go? You know, you might as well try to be your best and let it flow. Because if you're doing the right thing, you will always win. Turtle always wins, you know.
Yep. Tortoise in the hair.
Yeah, turtle in the hair always
Tortoise
win.
in the hair.
Tortoise always win. A lot of people feel like, hey, depends on which way the politicians or politics go in this country. They may leave the country. And I'm like, where are you going? Unless you're ready to go off the moon or go to the moon or something. But
not thinking about the fact that you're running from the changes that may happen here, but if you leave, you're going to experience change wherever you go there.
That's right.
You're going to experience change. And really what I have found is that, and not to veer off subject too much, but if you just disconnect from the news, if you disconnect from what's going on with the politics and politics, because a lot of times people feel like, well, I have to know what's going on. I have to watch CNN. I have to watch all these things. But literally, if you disconnect from that and just focus on your focus and be in your own little world, you won't even know what's going on, what they're arguing about, what they're telling you, what the fear mongering tactics are. You will not be, you won't be thinking about, oh, I got to leave, because you'll be so laser focused on the things that you are called here to do that you will be challenging yourself with those things and making progress with that. And you'll look up and like, oh, you know, I don't know, in my world, everything is good.
Power of change.
Everything is good. And the power of the change and focus. Right. So changing your behaviors and changing your habits and changing your routines is something that a lot of people don't like to experience as well. People like to stay the same, stay stagnant, but they want a different result.
No, that's counterproductive. And plus, that's not truth. That's really not truth. I mean, in order to change, in order to grow, there must be some change. If you just join us for now, we're talking about the power of change, and change is good. And it may appear to you like, you know, you got fired from your job and it's the worst thing to happen. If you get fired from your job or laid off from your job, the universe is telling you there's something better for you to do. And now for you to start using and start thinking with your brains and your mind. It's survival, and there is no limit, especially in the United States, that you can study and you can learn from a language to a different craft. There's a lot of things you can go into, and all of us should be doing more than one thing. If you're just doing one thing, then you're behind the 8 ball, because it's like if you got a restaurant and you still keep cooking the same old food and your menu has not changed, you know, in 10, 20 years, then you're going to become obsolete, because they ain't eating that no more. They eat something better and they cooking it a little different, and the tastes people have changed, and it always changes. Your taste change, my taste change. It does, because it's part of the universe, part of the world, part of growth, part of expansion. Change. I mean, if you're still watching Bugs Bunny and sitting there laughing for an hour, and you're grown now, and you were a kid when you're doing it, and you haven't changed, and you're still doing that, you're back in the time. So you're losing, so to speak. You're losing a step. And you always continually have to grow and change so you can keep up with the times if you want to have a well-balanced life. It doesn't complaining, because they're not going to stop. No one in the universe is not going to stop. Time, creation, Development will not stop just because you don't understand it and because you don't know. It's up to you to educate yourself. You don't have a mom and a daddy or a teacher that's going to report that you didn't learn nothing. You have to learn how to work your cell phone.
That's so funny. When you a few minutes ago you mentioned consciousness, and I thought about how changes challenge you, and it is through those challenges, depending on how you look at the challenges, depending on how you navigate the challenges, that you're able to expand your consciousness.
Yes.
And so a lot of times people run from the changes, aka they run from the challenges, but they want to be able to expand their consciousness. They want to be able to see things different. They want a higher point of view, a higher perspective. They want the end result without going through it. The only way to get to it is to go through it.
Yes.
So when you think about changes, because what did never mind, I was gonna say what Tupac said, but anyway, let's go back. let's stay focused. Anyway, to go, the only way to kind of go through it and grow through it is to realize that change is only constant. It is a part of life. So you're like, okay, I understand these changes. They are going to bring challenges. My choices are going to determine if I navigate these changes and these challenges in a way that expand my consciousness.
Yes.
And since we are here to expand, then we might want to make an intentional decision to say, you know what, I want to expand my consciousness. Okay, as soon as you decide that you want to go higher, you want to expand consciousness, get ready for change.
Yes.
It's
Tavares and I were talking last week. As a matter of fact, he said, Mr. Henderson, since you've been doing this over 30 years, have you ever seen a time like it is right now where so many people don't want to work? I mean, young people.
I was thinking about that last night.
It's so many people that do not want to work. They just they want the beautiful life. They want the travel. They want to have a good time. They want to eat. They want to dine out, but they don't want to work at all. They don't want to use themselves and their minds in terms of how to become more mobile. They just don't. They just said, hey, I just want it. I just want this. I want that. I want that. And I don't want to pay the price for it. I want to put time in it. I don't want to I just want to get it. I told him I've never seen anything like this in my 37 years in the financial services. There's someone that's 45 years old and they say, Mr. Henderson, can y'all design a plan where I don't have to work no more?
And don't have nothing.
And don't have nothing.
Don't have what are you talking about? Okay, we can do it, but what you got to work with.
Right. I'm going to show you if you want to live happily ever after, you're 40 years old and you say you don't want to work no more, but you want to travel and you want to eat good and you want to have a car and you have $20,000 to your whole name. And what are you saying? I mean, if you're going to marry rich or whatever, there's no plan. If you're not working, you need money to work for you. If you don't want to work, you got to have money working for you. I want you to understand that what I just said. For those of you who are tired of working, somebody got to work or something has got to work because you have to produce more capital, more income. You got to have a machine, a robot or something. Now, if you got a plan where you say, okay, I'm tired, show me that clone that you just made of yourself or that robot that's going to just cook for you and people are going to give it money and you a vending machine. Hell, just can get 100 vending machines and people get your vending while you sit home and make money for you. But somebody got to work. You can't just set out and say you got going to do nothing, but you want to get something because nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Nothing plus nothing equals nothing. You have something or somebody or something. You got to have an apartment building. You got to have a cars that you rent out. If you're not going to work to gain capital, you got to have a plan that something is going to take you a place where you can sit down. That's it. But I have never seen it in all my 37 years in the financial service business with so many people don't have a plan to continue to get money.
And they want the nice things. They want the good life.
They want the finer things in life, but they don't want to work. That's counter against cause and effects. And it goes against universal laws. It goes against the principles. It goes against cause and effects. It goes against that. The only reason why the only reason why LeBron James make $50 million a year is because he caused that. He made that happen. He dunks the ball, shoots the ball, run up and down like a freight train, spends $1 million on his body, eats right, get conditions. That's a lot of work. Sweat almost every day. He sweat every day, sweat clothes out, running basketball, turning around, get hurt, sprain ankle, get back up, play. And then people come to see him. So he does that and he gets more people in the seats, crowds, and then they pay for it, so therefore he can make that kind of money. You have to do something, or you have to invent something that's going to make money for you, or have some sort of mechanism that produces money for you. But nothing from nothing plus nothing equals nothing. So it's amazing during this time. I think that the whole COVID, I don't know if social media or something has really blindsided and hurt a lot of people in terms of their thought patterns.
I think it's a combination of both, because a lot of times people see people on social media and what they believe them to have, or the experiences that they're having, and they think that that's reality, and it's not. There are a lot of grown people whose parents are supporting them when their parents cannot even afford to financially support them.
Yes.
A lot of our retirement age clients are complaining about their grown children who they still have. Well, I got to pay their rent. I got to pay this. They complain about it.
Yeah.
But when their children are on Instagram or social media living this lifestyle, their friends don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know that when you see that. So it's a combination of both. And then also what I'm seeing is people are out of season because they're looking at all of these things. They're in their 20s and 30s, and they want to live in the harvest season. They want to live in the distribution season when you have not sown, when you have not accumulated. So you're in your 20s and 30s, and you are competing and aiming to live with someone who may be 50, 60, or 40s, and who has been putting in work for such a long period of time, and you're trying to live like they live.
Instant.
They may have investments, they may have sown their seeds, but you haven't done that. You're just saying, I want the harvest.
Yeah.
Because now you can't really tell, nobody wants to hear about the story, right?
No.
So it's really an interesting phenomenon. I was thinking about that last night. Somebody, when they call and they want this, and logically I'm saying, how you gonna have that?
Yeah, they really do. So change, if you're just joining us, we're talking about change, and change is good, but you have to change too, because change is happening. If change is happening, then you have to change. You can't think the same old way.
Yeah.
And I know that's probably hard for a lot of people to do, but it's a fact. Listen, we got to go because it's 1 o'clock and we got appointments.
Okay.
All right.
All
so
right.
we got
to go.
So Saturday, we're coming up. Matter of fact, there's an annuity company for the first time. It started on yesterday. They're giving a 40% match on any money you put in, but the minimum is $20,000.
Okay.
And they will match your 20,000, 40%, which means 8,000. So you get 100,000, and you could use rollover money. You could use retirement money.
I like that.
And they're gonna match whatever you put in there. They're gonna put it 40% match. In other words, 100,000 that you roll over from your retirement and put it into this safe, secure annuity. They'll give you 40,000 on top of the 100,000. If you put $1 million, they'll give you 400,000 on top.
I love that.
The only catch is it's for retirement. So you have to keep it in there for 10 years.
I don't think that's a bad deal.
No, especially because 10 years is going to go by and you got 40% new money.
Yeah, and people, you don't want to die. You want to have some money 10 years later, right?
Yeah. So I want to talk more about that on Saturday at 9 o'clock.
Oh, you doing a show Saturday?
I think so. I think so. Change. I think so.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
If Mr. Henderson does the show Saturday at 9 a.m.
You hear more about that. If not, then you'll hear next Saturday. But I think I'm going to do the show. Right now, I feel pretty good about doing it.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it. So thank y'all for tuning in today for Transitions. Today's Wednesday. We may be on Saturday or maybe not. And if Mr. Henderson is not back on Saturday with James T. Thomas at 9 a.m. when we have somewhere to be at 12 p.m., then
I like to cut it. All right.
Then Monday, Tavares and I will be back for Mortgage Minded Mondays. And then next week, Wednesday, Mr. Henderson and I will be back for Transitions. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Until then, peace.
Peace.